So still looking at some of these rare devices that I got, I've had a chance to find homes for some of them, and others I have decided that were so cool and or unique that I was just going to go ahead and hang on to them as part of my small yet somehow still growing collection of webOS devices. So what you see here looks like a normal Pre-3, which is one of the last webOS devices made, or maybe anyway. So what's unique about this one is that it is actually a prototype of the Pre-3. See there it says DVT not for resale, property of HP of course, and then prototype there with the P130 UNA model number, I guess. You also notice if you look at your Pre-3 at home, that SIM slot looks just a little different than what they actually came out with. Not sure if that was because they wanted to hide those contacts or if they wanted to put them in there a little differently. These are actually more like flat pins as opposed to what's in the kind of like, they look like bumps, I guess, on the production model Pre-3s. So go ahead and put the standard. The battery was the same as the Pre-3 battery. They didn't change that much or at all. Go ahead and put that in there, and then we'll take a look at the back. So this has a model number marking, or a version marking perhaps, of the hardware, which is the MD1LN0428. And then you'll notice on the side of the device, this one is a numbers matching one. I feel like I'm talking about a car engine for a classic car, but at any rate, if I get it to focus, you'd be able to see that that's the same number. Who cares, right? Anyway, so I'll go ahead and put the back on here. These were stickers that were on the back of the phone. I actually just moved them to the inside because I liked how the back of the phone looked, because you'll see that it actually still says HP Palm. And you see this little scratch right here? I'm really irritated. I actually just did that by accident. Oh well, what are you going to do? So you see the same markings there for the speaker grill, and I just love seeing the Palm logo on the back. It's really nice. Wish they would have left that alone for the production models. So we'll get this on here, slide this up, and then you can actually see there's one other difference, is that the microphone is right there on the bottom underneath the keyboard. Now on the production models, they're right here. There's a little notch cut in the bottom of the case, and it sat right inside that little notch, and they moved it away. Not sure why they did that. Obviously they had some type of reason, but anyway, fundamentally the rest of the device is pretty much the same. This one's not branded for anything. It is a GSM model. We'll get to that here in a minute. Standard headphone jack and volume rocker, and the power button that's that we know as being the normal button. Okay, and the charging port. So I'll go ahead and turn this one on, and while that one's booting up, we'll go over here and show you this other Pre. Now this is more of along the lines of an original Pre. So you'll notice the orange keyboard there and the center dot. Just go ahead and tap on that. And this model is running, well, when I got it, it was running webOS 1.3.8. I used the Nova device installer, which is a really cool tool that got floated to the community some time ago, that allows you to pretty much flash whatever you want as far as webOS tar files onto pretty much any device you feel like. Now, it doesn't guarantee that it'll boot or work, but it will allow you to flash it pretty much without error. So I went ahead, because 1.3.8 is a little dated. I mean, 1.4.5 is dated too, but more so. So I went ahead and flashed the webOS and AT&T tar files from an AT&T Pre-Plus Doctor onto this model to get it up to 1.4.5. What's cool about this model is it is one of two known existing P100 UNAs. Now, if you remember the P100, I'm gonna hurt myself here. EWE sounds right off the top of my head. I could be wrong. Was the Sprint model of the original Pre, so it was launched only to Sprint with an exclusivity deal which again, well, I'm not going to go into it, but a lot of people feel like it kind of tanked Palm right from the get-go with webOS. But so it shows you here that they were actually testing an AT&T or GSM version of the phone in-house. Now they did release a GSM version in Europe. I think Telcel got one in Mexico. But here is this one that actually had an AT&T config loaded to it, which I think was 0.9 when I got it. And so when I flashed it to the Pre-Plus version of the software, it actually bumped it up to 1.1. But we heard about the P100 UNAs on webOS Nation back, I think, when it was called Pre-Central, when they got word that the P100 UNA had passed through the FCC. But we never saw the model. It was never released because it went straight to Sprint. But here it is. Here's one right here. There's the model number, and it had an unlocked modem in it, which was nice. And I have tested it. I have put my AT&T SIM in there, and it fires AT&T right up and gives me 3G and works great. So kind of some cool history there. This one's missing a power button. I got to get me an extra power button, but so it's a little harder to shut off. But at any rate, it's a pretty cool little device. I think I'm gonna hang on to this one. That's pretty cool. So on the back, not much different. There's a little bit of a difference in the instructions on the EU version of the original Pre, where it shows the battery. Step 1. Step 2 is putting the SIM in or out, and then step 3 is reinserting the battery. So a little bit different on the graphic. And then the only other difference on this particular device is the fact that it is a not for sale unit. You see right there, it says unit not for sale, but it is marked with that sticker we saw on the webOS Nation forums for the P100 UNA, which is kind of cool. So, and of course I had to put the original back on it, because even though it doesn't do the touchstone, you gotta love that shiny Palm back that I do miss seeing on modern devices. Alright, so now this one's booted. There's not too much special about this particular prototype model of the Pre 3, other than the fact that it was an early testing version of the AT&T model, which we know is a 16 gig model. When they were testing them, I think just about all their devices were 8. So this is an 8 gig model. It was running 2.2.3 when I got it. I went ahead and flashed it with the AT&T Pre 3 doctor. It actually flashed just fine. No problems at all. I didn't use NDI at all. I just used the normal flashing method of just firing up the doctor, and it worked first time. So there's a D1 revision on the hardware, which is going to be an early release, which matches along with what we're seeing here in this prototype device. So other than that, it's basically just a Pre 3. So it's pretty cool either way.